about dancing.
Great timing.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I slurped a bite in my mouth. It's fine.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Geek the F Out. I am Lucha Johnny.
I'm Kayla. And we are joined by the esteemed, the one and only, Mr. Ralph.
Welcome, distracted. Welcome. How's it going?
Clearly.
I just had to finish my missions on Invincible, so it's very important.
Thanks for joining.
Saving the world.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here. We are T-minus how many days now? Less than 10 days from the premiere. 9 days. Crazy. Yeah. Really in crunch time.
Yeah. It's everyone keeps reminding us, oh, we're so excited. It's only so many days. And I'm like,
thanks for reminding.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ralph.
Yeah. And then we're starting to see Lost fans in California, in surrounding areas doing things before coming to Los Angeles, and people are starting to land in Los Angeles around Monday and stuff. And I'm just like, oh.
Already it begins.
I hope this 2-hour thing that we've been working on for 3 years is worth their trips. I'm sure it will be. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't relieve the pressure whatsoever.
Totally.
It really doesn't.
All right. Well, before we say hi to the chat, I need to show off my eye makeup really quick because I'm very proud of it, even though it didn't take me as long as... Oh, thanks, Johnny. So I did an island with the polar bear. I did an island with the smoke monster. That's it. That's why they look like this. If you're like, why do her eyes look so different?
Premiere? You gonna do something like this for the premiere?
Probably. Do I know what? No idea. I literally thought of this last minute. I asked my roommates, I was like, what should I do? And then I just kind of was like, oh, I'll do islands. And then it went from just doing islands to, I was like, oh, I'll put a polar bear. And then I was like, oh, I can do the smoke monster on the other one. So
I think one of the Giacchino tracks is Island with EYE LAND. So it's like I.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Should we say hi to the chat,
for
Johnny?
All the eyeballs. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Johnny loves those eyeballs. Balls of eyes.
Well, buckle up
for some reason. Balls of eyes just sounds wrong compared to eyeballs.
Balls of eyes.
Y'all are welcome.
I'm just thinking about Mad Balls now. They had the one that was the big eyeball.
That's the one I had. Through it went between the garage and the next door neighbor's garage into a giant high weed pile. It wasn't any place that anyone would go, so it's just giant weeds, and I could never find that Mad Ball. And I'm assuming it just disintegrated over time. Made me real mad.
I think they were just foam.
No idea what
they were
you're
Nerf,
talking about.
Mad Balls? Oh, they were great fun. Yeah, they were basically Nerf balls in disgusting.
They were like monster shapes, but a ball.
Yeah.
And one of them was literally just a bloodshot eyeball.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the coolest thing. Then they started making them sort of plastic so you can squirt people with the Mad Balls and stuff.
Ralph is here on screen and in the chat. Randall's here. Yes, it's Kate's fault. Allison is here. As she said, she just woke up from a nap, so it is just the universe making sure we didn't start without her. Thanos stopped in to say hello and goodbye because he is apparently still only on season 2.
All right, cool. Hi, Thanos, even though, whatever.
Kenzo is here. And that's it. Those are our early folks. People will come and go.
Welcome. Make sure to smack that like, por favor. We appreciate y'all being here. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for watching on the replay. Shall we get into it? Season 5?
Yes.
All right. And also, if you missed
our season,
yeah, Ralph's favorite. If you missed our episode breakdown, we did that last week. I just didn't post about it, but we did it. So we talked about the episodes in depth. So on tonight's chat, we're going to be talking about the season as a whole and, you know, more of the things that happen, plots, themes, people who have died, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I think we're going to need to save Ralph's favorite pair, though, until the end, aka Juliet and Sawyer. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ralph. We'll
So
talk
that's
about
the
it,
thing.
though.
And then I have the big question for Johnny that I ask him every time.
Yes.
And if he hasn't come around on Sawyer, I'm gonna be real mad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll discuss that later, for sure. Bye, Thanos. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, he doesn't even know who
I
Juliet
think
is.
let's just get into the time travel of it all because there's a lot of it this season.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I really got to ask you. I mean, I should have saved it for this week anyways if I did ask you, but I don't think I got to ask you, Johnny, like how you felt about the time travel. Like, did it work for you? Was it too much? Did you like it? I know you said you were able to like follow it and understand it, which is good. Like, do you think it worked well with, you know, the overall plot?
Like a
Gnocchi just went
like a-
flying into my hair. Keep talking while I fix myself.
Yes, I think I would have liked it more had I watched the show sooner than I did. Because we've seen so much time travel in things recently that I don't think it hit as well as it would have if I had watched this years ago. You know what I mean?
in like
Like-
2008 or whatever.
Yeah.
What about, like, so like what about like the like it's even like kind of changing because I know you got sick of flashbacks. It kind of changed that a little bit.
I wasn't this wasn't like the flashbacks, like
Yeah.
because
But
relevant
it's nice because it's a new thing. It's not it's
Yeah.
not the same.
I feel like one of the things with the flashbacks that I felt was, yes, it was filling in blanks and doing things for characters, but that early in the show, a lot of the times it didn't feel like it was necessarily needed or all that plot relevant. But everything that happened in the time travel stuff in this season felt like it was moving things forward, even though they were back in the past or, you know, flipping around time frames.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also because they did eventually have flashbacks or like flashes towards the end of the like Oceanic 6, like after like halfway through the season. But before that, I think it was just it wasn't centric over one specific character, those episodes, and B, it was in line with what was happening 3 years ago on the island. You know? Like, they were showing, like, the same time, like, right after stuff. I mean, they showed later stuff, too, but, yeah. I don't know. I thought I had an idea, but now I don't think I did. Because I was thinking that they were only, like, switching back and forth, and I was like, no, they weren't doing that. They were showing the Oceanic 6. So never mind.
I feel like at
Ignore
the
me.
time, like
Delete.
When it came to network TV at the time, like, you had like Quantum Leap and stuff, which was kind of like, you know, time travel, but like real,
Yeah.
like easy, simple concept for people to grasp. Star Trek, I know, dealt a little bit with time travel.
Yeah, there was some, and there would have been some time travel stuff, a couple of different things in Next Generation by the time
Yeah.
Lost was on, and Deep Space Nine,
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like
and Voyager.
yeah, at the time, Lost was probably more unique and going a little more sci-fi with it.
Yeah, definitely.
it feels less accessible than those shows. So that's where you kind of were at the time. But yeah, now like I'm sure Stranger Things has some sort of time travel thing. If not, there's like interdimensional stuff. Like it's getting into stuff that's like, you know, stuff that'll only be in sci-fi books. There's no like dimension. Like the Upside Down is like a different dimension.
Yeah.
Kind
But,
of, yeah. But not
Um,
time
What
travel.
time travel that I've
No, and not in. Sorry, Johnny, but not in season 4 either.
But it's one of those
Oh, yeah,
things
we
where I
still
feel
have
like,
to watch
yeah, at the time there was a lot less of it. And
Yeah.
so when you're watching a show that's sort of a network drama, you know, it's essentially like a soap opera. And through the years, they started like real late in season 1 to show like the hatch. And then what's inside the hatch is the bunker with the dude with the computer. Like it took its time to get to the point where they're just like, okay, now we have an end date. Let's just blow the roof off the thing and go full like time travel.
Yeah.
So like it took a really long time to convince all the normal people that they were watching a sci-fi show when they thought they were watching like a dramatization of like Survivor or something. So
Yeah, and
really nice
when-
that they just were like, screw it, we're going there. We're doing it.
And when you would see time travel stuff back then, you know, it was an episode or a 2-part episode here or
Right.
there. Like this is the entire season. Like
Yeah.
again, there's on broadcast network TV, at least there weren't many shows that were as, you know, season long arcs like
Right.
Lost is. Or
Right.
serialized.
It'd have,
I mean,
like-
serialized versus episodic.
Yeah. They'd have like, oh, what if the nanny was in the 60s?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's where we were at TV then. I think it was like Gilmore Girls, Frasier were around during Lost. And it's just kind of like, you know, it didn't really challenge. Network TV didn't challenge anybody. Like this is really one of the
No, it
first
definitely didn't.
serialized shows on network TV. I mean, there was like X-Files that had individual episodes, but there was an overarching story. There was like Twin Peaks and stuff that which lasted like basically like a
seasons.
season and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So for Lost to it took them, you know, 4 years, 4 full seasons of like 24 episodes each to like be like, okay, we're gonna do it, and they did it. And I think what's great about it is that, you know, a lot of people complain about, oh, Lost doesn't answer anything. Well, they went smack dab in the middle of the like almost to every single like major event that showed off like the history of the island. So you get like Jughead, you get like the Dharma Initiative, which
The
is
Black Rock,
the best stuff. You get the Black Rock, a little taste of the Black
the
Rock.
statue.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun just to see like, okay, it's sprinkling some pieces of the puzzle where you can start filling things in, but the coolest thing is having like Hurley, Jack, Sawyer, Juliet, Jin, like being in the Dharma Initiative is like awesome.
Mhm.
Like it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, these guys get to live in this thing that we were wondering how it worked.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. I liked it. I don't remember how I felt about it when I first watched it, but
Yeah.
yeah, exactly like what you said. I feel like it fills in a lot of things that we see. I mean, we even saw like Yummy's plane like actually crashing instead of just being a vision.
It
from
was really
Locke.
going to like only key moments.
Yeah. It did.
It was fun.
Oh,
A little
shit.
suspect there, Island.
Wait,
Yeah.
hang on. I just had a.
What?
Did Locke get the vision of the plane crashing because of the future time travel? Like, is there something weird, like
In his
going?
brain,
Yeah, in his brain.
something
Like, is he
fired off?
outside of time because of the time travel that he will go through? Are things rippling backwards through his timeline and letting him see flashes
Well,
of
I
things
mean,
like that.
I would say yes, because like we learned that
Yeah.
Desmond Constant in season
Yeah.
4, he was able to transfer his consciousness back in time. So this makes total sense that, Locke sees the plane in his vision. So that might explain it. Because it did happen in
It
the
all makes
past.
sense now.
Yeah.
He was physically
Doesn't.
there when that plane went down however many years
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
And something in his brain, something in the island probably sparked his brain, is like, okay, you need to remember
Yeah.
this. So maybe the island went to that time specifically to show
Ooh.
John that plane crash, because he knows that later he'll go on to go to the Pearl Station.
Yeah, and that just like completely. I mean, the finding the plane is what really started the dominoes going. Like,
Yeah.
without finding the
Boone dying.
plane, Boone dying, they wouldn't have found the Pearl Station, all the kind of stuff they wouldn't.
The statues.
I mean, they had already found the hatch at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, that was like season 1.
Yeah.
Pearl came
No,
in
I know. I'm still talking about season 1. Yeah, because it was before. Yeah, that's right. Because then once he crashes, he can't help Locke with the hatch anymore. No, why do you always ask me to update when I'm doing something? Every fucking time. It's like, clearly I'm doing something. Stupid. Yeah, that's really interesting to think about it from that perspective of like, especially because he literally tells Richard Alpert like where to go to save his life, which obviously we know that wasn't him, but he needed his body, so he had to set him on that right path to get him back onto land and die. Johnny, you look lost.
Yeah, because I mean, it. Oh yeah, it wasn't him, huh?
Yeah, it was
Because
Man in
by
Black.
that point, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because it's not technically. Because we do find out, obviously, spoilers, that Locke's body is still. Locke is still dead, as far as we know.
Yep. Yep. So that's not Locke.
Yep.
Yeah, so it isn't. It isn't Locke who actually sees the.
But he needs Locke's body, so he has to set Locke on the path that he, was already on, but in order to make sure he still has the body so he could die on land and come back dead. Because, yeah. And Christian was Man in Black before, right? Ralph?
I will say yes. I'm so like, I'm like, when do they start talking about Man in Black? Is it season?
They didn't say that in this, but it's in the captions, I think.
Yeah.
It refers to him as the Man in Black.
Right.
But it's the dude from the original Jacob flashback who's like, I want to kill you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
like,
yeah,
Johnny
that
put
dude.
together.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't even know. I feel like the Man in Black is one of those things the fans came up with, because he's just an unnamed person.
I thought it. I feel like I remember seeing it in the captions.
It was in the.
Yeah,
And I think he's listed in the credits like that too.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Get that water. Because I was trying to think of when
hydrate.
Christian. Everyone
thirsty.
hydrate. Cheers.
I made a grilled cheese sandwich for dinner. So fucking good. It was good. It was really good. We have this Stevie's at a party, at a girls' goth party. She has friends who have like 13-year-old twins, and they're doing a goth party.
Oh my
So
God.
she's getting fed, so I'm
Amazing.
like, I'll just make a grilled cheese sandwich, and I had sourdough bread,
Ooh.
and I put in a slice of cheddar, and then I took one of those like Laughing Cow wedges of cheese, smashed that
Oh,
into it, and put a little some spices on it. God
yum.
dang, it was good.
Delicious.
But
Sorry. Sorry,
I'm now
Johnny, you
super
don't know what
thirsty.
sourdough is.
You don't know what sourdough is?
She says I haven't had sourdough because I was talking about
Mm-mm.
Cracker Barrel sourdough.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
It's not the same
well,
because literally
I don't know what
the
Cracker Barrel is.
sourdough was originated in San Francisco because of
Right.
the climate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really you can
Dough
only
got real
have
gross.
sourdough in California.
Anyway, it made me super
Anywho.
thirsty. I'm so
Yeah.
thirsty. I have Gatorade in my jug today.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Ralph is thirsty. Also, along with the time travel, is the fact that we kind of just like skip over 3 years,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
what
Awesome.
clearly
But it's kind of nice though.
it is, and I kind of go back and forth with it, but I think now I definitely lean towards I like it because you get a hint of what's happened, and like clearly from what we see they had like pretty stable lives, like not much craziness was happening besides dealing with Richard Alpert and the others. So but that seemed pretty stable as well, like didn't seem like there was a lot going on with that. But yeah, Johnny, what did you think of it though?
Of the times of the
The 3 years.
time
Yeah.
skip. Like you said, it's fine. Like nothing super important seems to have happened during those 3 years. They just infiltrated and blended in. Like, and we saw that.
But like successfully, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's obvious that there was nothing, like you said, just nothing crazy happened during that time that you needed to. Are you watching your light too?
It may have finally died. It's been flashing for
God.
like 4 years on every podcast I do. I have a feeling it's
So
going to
funny.
kick back on at some point.
We'll see.
I like the 3 year jump. I think it helps because it catches the show up to like actual time. Because they were still in like 2004, like by the end of season, 4. Maybe they were in 2005 by then. I don't know. But it was nice that they were able to jump now to like
They were
whatever,
Christmas
2008
of 2004.
for the constant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's kind of nice that now the actors could just be like, 3 years older than they were supposed to be. But it's also fun because you get, I know you want to talk about it later, but it's fun to see how like relationships, you're like, oh, like there was an inkling of Juliet and Sawyer in the previous season at the very end, but like, it's like, oh, like it's a nice shorthand. It's a nice, like, okay, now they're here and I like this. And I'm interested to know more about that, like what's been going on since. It's one of those things like what happened between Star Wars and Empire. Like after they blew up the Death Star and they go to Hoth, like I want to know what happened in that, that 3 years. So for this, it's kind of fun.
Or Hurley was fixing it.
Yeah, Hurley was working on Empire Strikes Back.
Some like it
Is
hot.
the light really not going to turn on? Is it really not going to turn back? Did it really die?
It looked like it was flashing pretty quickly there for a minute, so it might have finally given up the ghost.
That's crazy. It's some old 50s like light bulb in there too. Like it's a light bulb. Instead of a screw in, it's got like 2 like Frankenstein bolts sticking on the side, and you push it in and twist it into and lock it into place. So I don't know if I'll be able to get a replacement. I think that might be it for lighting up my little Tonto Ted guy and Kyle Rayner.
they do say for those incandescent bulbs, the thing that like gives them the most wear is the turning on and turning off. Like if you turn it on, it just stays on. It could, like that light bulb in the firehouse in what, Baltimore or wherever, that's like over 100 years old.
Oh, and we're back.
Oh, there it is.
And we're back.
Will
All right,
not
we can
die.
move on now.
All right. We could talk about the light during season 6.
Yeah.
Yep. If it's still alive.
Yeah, so I think the time skip is fine. Now, I'm a little confused because there was obviously the 3-year time skip for the people in the 50s or whatever it was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying there was a time skip for the present people too, like Jack and Kate and...
Yeah. Once the island settled down, 3 years have passed.
Okay.
So they were in the Dharma Initiative for 3 years. At the same time, the people from 2000 whatever 4 were now in 2007.
But they didn't spend 3 years getting there.
Well,
Or
they
did
spent
they
3
were-
years
they
on
were-
land.
Yeah, they were off the
Okay.
island for 3 years.
Yeah.
So like Jeremy Bentham shows up and all the stuff
Mhm.
where he gets his stuff.
So
and
everything
then,
we've
Okay.
seen on land, that was over 3 years.
Gotcha. Which was
Yeah.
mostly last season.
So Sun has been away from
Yeah.
Jin for 3 years. So when Kate and
Gotcha.
those
Like, she
guys
thinks
show
he's
up,
dead.
when
I was thinking you were saying like there was another 3-year skip for them at the beginning of this season when they went back to the island. I get it now.
No. It had been 3 years for them too.
Yeah.
so like when Sawyer sees Kate for the first time, it's been 3 years for both of them,
Gotcha.
and it's a huge old wrench. She's a big old wrench.
That makes sense.
Kate.
Yeah, she really is. But we'll talk more about that later. We kind of talked about this before, and I don't know if you know, Ralph, but we were saying how because the island is, they're moving through time on the island, but we also know the island can move. So when they jump through time, is the island also moving back to that time? Or are they
It's so
still in the
hard to
same
say.
spot they moved to after Ben turned it?
That I don't know. I think they move around the Earth as well. I guess time travel for real, like, can exist because if you travel through time, the Earth is in a different spot in its rotation, so you would be stuck in space. But so my understanding is that the island, it's invisible to the world because there's some sort of barrier.
Yeah.
But I believe it hops around in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we've seen there. Have we seen the lamppost yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so the lamppost. So the lamppost, the pendulum
Knows where it goes.
knows where the island is. It keeps tabs on the island, and so the island is constantly moving. It's one of the things where I think is why it is able to stay hidden from the world for so long.
So I was just wondering, so after Ben turns the donkey wheel and it starts jumping through time, are those jumps through time also moving the island through time? Like,
I would
say
assume. I don't
say
know
in
how-
the
well,
first one in 1954 with Jughead, like, say that's near Hawaii. Like,
Right.
so when they jumped there, did the island also jump to Hawaii, or was it or was it just somewhere
I'm
else?
assuming it would, right? It would be bouncing all over the world because
I guess.
that's where it would have been at that time. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, has anybody used that donkey wheel, since the
Well,
40s?
when Ben,
Jughead.
yeah, well, but when Ben went up there, he said he hadn't done it in like 15 years. So,
Okay.
like, not that he, I mean, he didn't specifically say move the donkey wheel, but something that they were doing to get down there had been 15 years.
And also, it has been moved since because the Dharma Initiative, we know this stuff already. We're using polar bears to push the donkey wheel. That's why there was polar bear bones with the Dharma collar in Tunisia. So, so yeah, it has been moved at least when the Dharma Initiative was around.
Yeah.
So,
And like there definitely could have been times that they jumped through that like it could have been in the same spot, but I'm just wondering if it was in a different spot, if the island physically moved or if the island just turned back in time.
I feel like maybe
what I
every
mean?
time it gets turned, it goes somewhere else.
Yeah, but it was only turned once by Ben and it jumped around a bunch of times.
Well, it was out of alignment.
Because it was out of alignment. I'm saying jump in terms of like the sky turning white and then we change time. Not when Locke turns it and then it sets itself straight. Well, kind of. They're stuck in 74.
Yeah.
Yes, Johnny.
He's thinking.
I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. I had a different thing.
Yeah, it gets a little confusing.
One of the questions I was wondering is like, is the island, and I think this is probably too complicated and I was thinking way too much into it. So like,
Usually are.
Probably. Does the island itself move through time as well as space? So like,
it feels like it, right?
Because so like if the island's in 2008 and it jumps to 1954, is there no island on the planet in 2008 anymore because it's back in 1954?
That doesn't because I don't.
Like, does it exist on its own outside of time and it's wherever and whenever it wants to be? Like, if it just doesn't want to be available in 2008,
it goes to where it was in 1954. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's tough.
It'd be like a person, right? So, like, if I right now jump to the past, okay.
So essentially, you're saying it's Marty McFly in 1985,
right?
When he goes to 1955,
right?
And the answer is no.
No, because he can't be in two times at once because he's one individual being, unless he's going backwards to a place where he already was.
Yeah, because Einstein is gone from 1985 for a minute or 2 minutes or whatever it is. So I'm thinking it's the same rules, where the island goes away and is now in 1955.
Yeah, so like if it's exactly.
Yeah.
So like if it is like
like I'm wondering if they left the island in 1977 and they went back to the mainland, would that be 1977?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think it, because, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Were you going to say something, Ralph?
Trying to get the cat to stop.
What's the cat doing?
Why don't you come here? Jump up. Come say hi.
Here,
but yeah, and now with a time traveler, the time traveler can say, all right, I left 2008 on September 13th at 10:53 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I need to return to to September 13th, 2024 at 10:43. There's still that minute where you don't exist in the current time.
Right.
So would there be a window that for the island unless that's why,
It-
like,
it's-
is the
it's
island
what's-
physically moving back through time, or is it
I
just
believe so.
transporting what's on it back to an earlier time?
I
And
think
if
it's
it's
physically moving.
and if it is, what, like, it's just gone unless it goes back to the exact moment
So-
that it left.
Right. But when Jack,
That's possible.
when Jack
They
and
might
Sue
not have
showed
thought
up
of
in
that.
Ajira, when they showed up in Ajira, it was 1977, right? That was the deal. Because
Sorry, say that again?
Jack shows up in 1977. They get back on the island. It's 1977,
Mhm.
and they're like, in the
Well,
Dharma Initiative.
remember they disappear from the plane though. They don't physically
Yeah.
land like the rest of them do.
Right. So I think the way I imagine it is the island is in some sort of bubble where the light shifts weird. That's what Faraday says. It
Temporal
doesn't quite
flux.
work right. And when they fire off that rocket, there's like it's always like out of sync by like what, a half
Yeah.
hour or something. So it's never in the right spot. I feel like it's in a bubble, and that bubble's traveling around the world, but also hitting like the inside of the bubble is going at different points in time in the where the island is.
Mhm.
And so
guess that
it
makes sense.
exists in all those places, but the inside of the bubble is 1977 now, and it's where it was in 1977 because they have to use the lamppost to find out where it is. The only problem is
Mhm.
when it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of what's going on.
And I
There's
feel
some
like-
sort of barrier that's keeping the island in sort of a different
Yeah.
realm than, I know that's more of a fantasy word than a science fiction word, but I mean, this show's getting pretty close to fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes,
more
there's
than
a lot.
I mean, once the smoke monster showed up, that's definitely fantasy.
well, but here's the thing: nobody knew what the smoke monster was. But one of those dudes,
But clearly that's not sci-fi.
no, because one of those dudes holds it off with a circle assault, which is way in the fantasy realm. Which means that the smoke monster, if we go by the established,
No, it's
genre-
ashes. That's around the cabin, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's some sort of
It's
ash.
ashes.
regardless of what the
What the
material
material- yeah.
is.
Yes. Sorry.
It is established genre rules that a circle of a substance holds off demons and devils. So the smoke monster's
You
a
ever
fucking
watched
demon.
Supernatural?
But you can
Well,
have
we
a science
know-
version of that where if it's like nanobots, it could be metal filings that are like a reverse magnet, and it can't go past that. I
Maybe.
think, and this is mentioned in the movie, and I don't know if Taylor's watching, but essentially Damon Lindelof says that when they started the show, first of all, no one wanted it to be sci-fi. They wanted it to be a drama with sexy people. And the writers were all nerds and were trying, like, slowly slipping in sci-fi stuff. But Damon mentions that, when they started this thing, they wanted to go by like Michael Crichton rules. They wanted to go like a scientific route of doing things. But ultimately what they wanted to do for reals was do Indiana Jones rules, where it's like, okay, that's not sci-fi when there's
A little hand
angels
waving.
flying around and melting faces. So it's one of those things where, it's so tough. Like you wanna find science explanations for everything, because that's what season 2 sets up. Man of science versus man of faith. And so for me, one of the fun things with the show is like, okay, here's this thing. I don't believe my eyes. I don't believe my eyes at all. This doesn't make any sense to me. My brain can't make this feel scientific. So I do everything in my power to come up with a science excuse for it, like metal shavings that are like magnets, like anti-magnets for a nanobot cloud. So I find that a lot of fun. But again, it seems very, very fantasy based. But at the same time, I'm like, what could it be? Like the Hurley bird. What can that be? Like a bird that says Hurley and is giant and looks like prehistoric. Like, okay, that seems like a fantasy creature, but maybe it was made in a lab. Like it's the fun thing about Lost is it's it's a network drama where they
Why do
started
you look so skeptical, Johnny?
they start
the
speaking in shit that like is like crazy. Did you forget about the Hurley bird?
Yes, I completely forgot about the Hurley bird.
Right. So it's one of those things where Hurley's like, did that bird just say Hurley? And then it's never explained again. And it's one of those things where it's like this island is so weird, but us dumb people can't fathom like if I should believe in it. Like John Locke is just like, oh, this is some mystical place, and like Jack is like, this is science. Like I love this sort of like it's
Honestly,
fun. It's fun twisting all the weird shit into science and being like, oh, this is what it is. It's hard. Well, yeah. It's a weird show.
Nanobots, yes. I will say, I feel like yes, some things can be explained, but at the end of the day, maybe there are no rules. Like maybe the island itself has no rules. Like because it's in this bubble.
Somebody said something. The rules are different here, or something like that. I forget who.
It was like
when.
Faraday.
Yeah,
Probably.
Faraday says the light scatters here different. There's something like there's something off about it. And he's a scientist, and he's doing everything he can to like nail this shit down. The episode 1 of season 6 has one of my favorite reveals, and it's just like I'm like go team science. Like let's try to nail this thing down and disprove John Locke and his faith-based sort of views on the island, and let's really like study it. Like it's so much fun that the island is so fucking weird. It's like the best. I love the island so much. It's the best.
And once again, sorry, real quick, Johnny. You keep saying faith, and we've talked about this before, but it's not religious faith. It's like literally faith in the island.
Right. It's I think it's not questioning the science behind it and just believing that it's beautiful and great.
Yeah.
But like sorry, you have Jamie. Like here's the thing. Dharma Initiative brought polar bears to the island. And we're clearly using it for the donkey wheel because one of them ended up where Ben Linus ended up. Okay. But if you watch season 1, Walt is reading a Green Lantern Flash comic book, which has a polar bear in it, and that kind of summons the polar bear. So it's like, okay, so I can either be like Walt summoned this polar bear, or the Dharma Initiative brought it, or both. The polar bears were there, but Walt conjured it to come to where the people were. Your Sawyers.
I never thought of him as conjuring it.
Well, I mean, in the episode, that season 1 episode where he's reading the book about the birds, and then one crashes into the thing, like it's like
sense, yeah,
heavily implied. But that's what's kind of fun is okay. So what's going on with Walt? It's one of those things where it's just like it's like Lost is like, we're gonna start throwing ideas out there. Let's see what sticks. And it's really fun to be like, X-Files would do an episode about spontaneous combustion. And that's what it would be. I think that was the first episode of Fringe. They would do like an episode about that.
I think
yeah, because it was on. I love Fringe. Fringe is great. But it's one of those things where it's like Lost can like do all this stuff and just like be like, oh, it's the island. Like I don't know if they do deja vu in Lost, but I feel like it's something they could tackle. And it's one of those things where it's like we'll leave it up to the audience whether it's like mystical or if it's science. If we come up with a science way to explain this, we'll do it. But again, like leave it up to the audience. Let them have fun with it. Because the thing with Lost is it's like it's boring when they tell you the answer. It's just like everything else.
Yeah.
Like finding out about the origins of Boba Fett is fucking boring. So Lost, it's much more fun 20 years later being like, I don't know, Walt seemed to be able to manifest that polar bear, you know. So it's one of those things where like it's so weird, and a lot of these questions are like, I don't know if it's like, you know, mystical or whatever. And so what I like about this season is we're following the scientists. With our characters are now embedded in with all the people who are here to do research and try to figure this shit out. And it's so much fun to watch the Dharma Initiative, because we only get like glimpses of like, you know, Marvin Candle or whoever on the Dharma videos. So it's nice to actually see like kind of the inner workings and how it runs. And there's like hierarchies, so like Roger Workman and you know, like the van. There's the van pool, and there's the security. There's teachers. There's scientists. There's, you know, there's all kinds of stuff. So for me, it's like, okay, I'm sick of hearing about Kate running from the law. You know, so it's like
Johnny's definitely sick of that.
I'm like, okay, here we go. Kate off island, like putting Jack in his place, like, you fucking idiot. Like, like it's like, that's kind of refreshing. Being on the island and being established within a community that knows the island more than they did when they show up is also refreshing. It's no longer like running around being like, what is going on here? This is crazy. Oh my gosh, polar bears, horses, hurlybirds. You know, what's this boat in the middle of the island? What's this foot statue? Now it's like, we're with people that have already figured some of this stuff out and are able to pass that along. And so now it's becoming old hat, and you're starting to get kind of answers and stuff. And the foot used to be a full statue. And, you know, it's all, I don't know. Season 5 for me is a nice, like, Cliff Notes version of the history of the island. Like, it gives you some really juicy, fun stuff with, I really like the concept of Jughead. I don't know if you know this or not, but there was a missing atomic bomb in the 40s. That there was an atomic bomb missing called Jughead. And so Lost went and been like, okay, well, what if it's on, like, let's say it came, our island has it. Like this, it's like, you know, it's taking sort of real world stuff and being like, okay, you ever hear this story about Jughead? Okay, that's on the island for sure.
There's something similar with the explosion in
Oh, you literally froze.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Huh. It looked like you were thinking for a long time.
Yeah. You're either thinking real hard or asleep. You're just like,
yeah. Because you do that sometimes.
You do think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes.
We're proud of you.
I mean, I didn't do or say anything until you until you finished your Jughead story.
Yes, I know.
Okay. No, the Tunguska event was like a big explosion in Russia from presumably a meteor, but in the Dresden Files they attribute it to something else. So it's cool when they work in real world stuff like that's unexplained.
Was that in Ghostbusters 1 or 2? They mentioned that.
The Tunguska event? It was Ghostbusters 1, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was the first one.
I was gonna say, while you have all your, I'm gonna be the lock to your Jack here, I think, because there's so much.
Here we go.
There's a lot of Egyptian mythology symbols throughout this season. I was telling Kayla, like,
Jacob's hole.
The second to last episode, we see Jacob. He's using a loom, and I'm like, is this like an allusion to Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, like the Tapestry of Fate? And then when him and the other guy are sitting on the beach, I'm like, that ship is obviously Blackrock, right? That pirate ship that they see. And then I theorize, I'm like, is the island the Garden of Eden? Could it be the Garden of Eden? That would be an interesting thought.
I don't know.
I mean, remember that Jack and Kate found the caves and there were two people in there, two skeletons.
I
and
told Johnny
referred
to
them as
remember
Adam
that.
and Eve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I was thinking like Jacob and the Man
And
in
they
Black,
had a
like
black rock and a white rock in their little pouch.
like it feels like they should be Cain and Abel. Like it really, but since they'd already talked about Jacob and named him Jacob, but Jacob is also a son of Abraham, and Abraham had a lot of sons. So like, I mean, there's so many different ways. There was something else that I had written down.
But it's kind of fun that they're taking stuff from like the Bible or ancient
Yeah.
Egypt and just being like, okay, like any sort of weird stuff from the past, let's kind of like bring that into the fold.
Yeah.
It's
But then
I have a
also
lot
we
to
have
say
like,
once we're done with this whole series. I don't want to get into it just yet, but I like where your head's at. I like there's definitely things that you've said that I really want to discuss further, but I feel like you need to finish out the series and it could be discussed more. I'm not saying you're on the right track or not. It's just one of those things where it's like with the Egyptian stuff, you may get more of that in season 6, but also
And,
like how,
yeah,
like, yeah,
Miles talks to like legitimately.
so bad.
What's that?
I want to talk so bad. There's so many things that I want to talk about, but it's not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say.
You don't
anything.
want to say anything that could potentially spoil
yeah.
season 6.
Oh,
This is the
which, by
perfect
way,
reminder, though, that Johnny has not seen season 6. So keep your comments. Yeah.
And I fucked up the
go ahead,
last time I
Ralph.
was here by talking about the dishwasher.
That's okay. It didn't really give. Yeah, that didn't.
It was the
anything
first
away.
episode, I think, of season 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because I texted you and I was like, "Oh, the
Yeah.
dishwasher was like episode 1,
Yep.
and the I Heart Shit Shoes shirt was episode 2."
Yep.
Yeah.
They all run into each other.
And I was like, and again, it's one of those things where I mentioned this like years ago, where it's like, why would you put your knives in the dishwasher like that? And then it's like, I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't I? It will come in handy one day. Someone breaks into my kitchen and launches my spring-loaded rack to open position.
This is another thing that's a question that's like, it came up, and whatever your actual answer is, I just want you to tell me you don't know, because either way you could potentially give something away. One of the good questions, and the characters ask, like, why doesn't Ben remember Saeed shooting him as a kid? Or does he remember and just didn't bring it up? Because he knows how the island works and how things go. So, like...
All I
That
will
is a good
say
question.
in response to that is, remember
good
when
question.
they took Ben and they gave a warning?
Yeah, that it was going to
They
change
said he's
him.
going to be changed.
It's going to strip him of his innocence, I think was the wording that they used.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have the gold
So-
one's memory wiped.
Well, that was one of the things that kills me, by the way. Jacob is one of the thugs from the Big Lebowski
Right.
for Jackie Treehorn, where he's like, "You're not dealing with morons here." And as soon as I read it, I'm like, "Oh my god."
I'll tell you this, I love Giacchino created a theme for Jacob that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite Lost themes. You'll hear more of it as we go forward. It's a fun theme.
I don't know if there's anything else. I don't know if there's a ton to run through with characters, because most everybody, with a couple of notable exceptions, is pretty much in the same place they were at the end of last season. Like, there's not a lot of...
I mean, we can talk about Sawyer, but I think we got to talk about him with Juliet anyways.
Yeah.
So we can talk about them
Can I
together.
Can I ask?
Yes, you can ask him now.
Johnny, are you finally cool with Sawyer?
yes.
He said yes. He said yes. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That all matters.
That's all that
He
matters.
said yes.
Like, listen, like Jim LaFleur.
He said yes.
He was very different this season because
Yeah. Oh, he muted himself. Now he can't say
I
why.
muted
There's
him.
No excuse. That's so fucked up.
I think
I
you
can
can
unmute
unmute
myself
yourself
because we're
yeah.
both team members.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's 3 years of his life that we didn't see. So that's
Right.
one of the things. So we've seen Sawyer.
But if Juliet likes him, you know he's good. Because Juliet's boss-ass bitch.
She is, but
She
she
won't take-
she's not
She won't
necessarily
take no
good
shit
either.
from no one.
No. Steve, they're a team who is out to just get out of there. Like they're yeah.
Look, when I
But they
them as a
also
team-
aren't because they're very content after 3 years. Like, they're not trying to get out of there.
Let me finish my thought. Them as a
I'm telling
team,
Ralph, not you.
So
them
good.
as a team is oddly fascinating to watch because they are such opposite ends of the spectrum. There was one point where Juliet, I said last week, Juliet was like, James, go away. It's just hilarious. She's just like, dude, fuck off. Just leave it. And at first, when they were hinting at the relationship with them, I was like, like it just did not feel right. It felt absolutely 100% wrong. But there's 3 years of both of their lives that we don't see. We've only seen Sawyer in stressful, fucked up situations that are, and this is true of everybody, really. We've only seen them in stressful, fucked up situations where they are pushed to the brink and they're trying to survive. People are going to do whatever they can in that instance. With some, like, Hurley's a dude. So in that 3 years, like, we don't know what Sawyer's like when he can just sit back and chill and not have to worry about things. He might be
settle down.
The coolest dude on the planet when he's not, fearing for his life.
Well, I think that's what he needed too in his journey, because back on mainland, he was always conning people, you know? So I feel like he was never settled. So I feel like that was his time to literally settle with Juliet.
Yeah. It's like when you have that friend who is an absolute, total, complete fuck up. And then they get pregnant, or they get their girlfriend pregnant, and they have a kid, and they completely turn their life around because they have someone else that they need to care for now. I've seen that so many times. I've seen the opposite too. But yeah, like, it's when someone doesn't have to, like, worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can chill out and just be cool. Yeah. Or when they have someone that they need to keep,
Yeah.
I can talk, I promise.
Alive.
That they need to take care of and keep safe. They can't be running from gunfire all the time, or, they need something steady and stable.
I mean, even in those situations, as we saw last season, and we talked about it too, like, he was always really concerned about Hurley. He was concerned about Claire. Like, he was concerned about Kate. Like, he jumped off of the helicopter so they could make it. And those were all, like, high stress situations too. Right. So I think this season was his reward for being the good guy in those fucked up situations last season, It's like, oh, you can do that during these fucked up situations. Now you can rest.
Yeah, you have 3 years without Kate and Jack. Like, that's bliss. It's total bliss.
I said,
I do love, like,
when they first reunited, I'm like, it is really nice to see them all working together as a team and getting along without the constant dick measuring contest. And it only lasted for like half an episode, but that half an episode was such a joyous time.
Which episode was it, Johnny?
I don't remember. I have
like,
it in...
Where, like, Kate and all them come back, And Sawyer just goes into the house with, Juliet and Jin and stuff, and they just like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. Like they had this sort of contingency plan all set up. She has book smarts, he has the smarts of a con man to be able to slip them into the new recruits, give them new names, and like it's nice to see Sawyer being really competent and telling Jack what to do. And it's like, hey, Doc, just shut the fuck up, listen to what I'm saying, and everything will be all right. And It was like, this is amazing. This is so amazing because it's not Jack being like fucking all wound up and shit. So, whatever we missed in that last 3 years seemed to be very, very good for Sawyer.
Yeah,
it was very good for Juliet and everybody. It was fruitful. It was positive.
Fruitful.
They were able to like acclimate themselves. I love seeing Juliet as the mechanic. Like she has a totally different job. Like she's not just, they didn't put her in as a teacher, and she's comfortable with that, and they're happy, and they have a front porch they can sit on and just enjoy their life.
And drink some porch pounders.
Yeah, just a good, 3 years of fresh Dharma beer instead of the old junk in that Dharma van they drink in, before. So it's one of those things where in those short moments where Juliet comes out from under the van and they start talking and stuff, it's like immediately you're like, oh, this is refreshing. It's almost like new characters. It's what we always wanted from these characters. Like we love Juliet, but she's always so sad and stuff, and she always felt out of place on the island. And Sawyer also was like, I just need to get out of here. I'm an asshole. But it was so refreshing to be like, oh, they got to like figure it out. Yeah. And it's super refreshing when you're, 5 seasons into something, characters get stale. Jack is stale. Kate is stale. Hurley is never stale. Hurley is always lovable. And it's one of those things where it's like, even with Jin and Sun, it's really crazy that we're seeing them apart for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's such a refreshing season.
It was
Definitely.
It was episode 9, Namaste, where I wrote Sawyer says it's 1977. His what? I also said, baby Ethan, he's so cute and not murderous. And then it's nice to see them all working together without any dick measuring contests or anything going on yet. LOL. About 10 lines later, tension building already.
I mean, you kind of want to live in that 3 years. You kind of want to see that stuff. Because like the day-to-day operations of the Dharma Initiative, like they've gone through this recruiting process so many times to the point where they know how to slip in these guys, like get them jumpsuits, get them in the thing, get them in the picture for the new recruits, give them new names and stuff. I love season 5. Everybody is sort of a better version of themselves. And we're not dealing with flashbacks as much. We're dealing with, I don't know. I just really enjoy it.
And I feel like, even the stuff they flash forward to, it doesn't feel like random. Like it's still, once they switch that halfway through the season, like it still felt like one coherent piece. Like I feel like this is maybe the first season, was like this, but the first season was like so long and there was so much filler that I feel like this season was definitely like one solid rock, if that makes sense. Like every episode you had to watch, everything was relevant. Like it was solid, like through and through, no filler. No, why did Jack get his tattoos? So
it feels like they were like, okay, the island disappeared in the last season. Now what happens? Okay, let's do time travel. And we know that by the time we get to the last episode, we want to get to the incident. And
Yeah.
that's, it feels like, okay, here's the incident, here's how many episodes we have. When does the other guy show up in the 70s? When does, I feel like it was a nice clean timeline outline for this season.
And how they wove it all together is crazy. Like they did such a good job of that. We have the people who are on the mainland. We have 1974 to 77. And of course, all the jumps before that. And then we have present day on the island when they land. And somehow they all weave together with flashes to all sorts of things. Yeah, like you get the history of the island and you get, what every season gets
new
with character
characters,
building.
like the
and new character
versions. I really, really like it. I think it's still my favorite season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it last week, Kayla? I said that this kind of felt like it was this season kind of felt like it was a different show.
Yes. Did say that. It does. I think because it is a rock. It's solid. I mean, of course, the rest of Lost is fairly solid. It's to the point. It's like a very long movie. Like this feels like when we watch Stranger Things, how it's like a very long movie, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else.
I mean, we can talk about besides Juliet. I will say really quickly though, before we move on to deaths, when you mentioned Jack, I feel like when he's on the mainland, I think once Ben gets there and like Jack has a purpose, that's when he like really starts to change. And like obviously like he had to deal with his relapse or did he do a lot of drugs and alcohol before he did. Essentially relapsed. And then once he saw Locke and then Ben and everything, then he was like, okay, I have a purpose. Like I have to get everyone back together and go back to the island. And then I think that's when he realized that, maybe there was something to what Locke said and like he has a purpose on the island. Yeah.
The Ajira plane.
Yeah, that's the plan. Our last
season 6 will be next Friday.
Yeah, season 6.
It'll come out on Friday.
I won't be here.
I'll be in LA.
Am I on that one?
Well, next Friday is just the episodes.
Okay.
We'll do it's the Friday after that we review.
I was gonna say I might be busy that night.
We might all be busy that night.
Yeah. Like all day today.
I'm gonna be busy eating pickles.
You know when you have like a report card and you like had a bad grade in one of the subjects and that report card's just sitting in your back pocket and you have to give it to your parents to sign and you just have like that like that pit in your stomach and it's just awful and that's what I felt like today. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I told Stevie that and she's like, oh my God. She's like, just get out of the house. And so I went out of the house. I went to the place where I get my film developed to pick up some film, and it helped me. But it's just like, again, the movie is great and people are gonna love it, but it doesn't matter because in my brain it's like these people are flying in from like Chile, the UK.
Oh my God!
Wow,
Spain.
Wow.
It's like
yeah, honestly
no, I have that gut feeling where it's just like today where I'm just like, oh, it
won't go away.
We've been working on this for almost 3 years now, and it's like now I get to show my work, and it's like 2 hours of people's time, and I'm like, it's gonna go by like that, and I hope it's everything that they we're sort of hoping for. And it's crazy because our movie is on Letterboxd right now, which means you can go and leave a review on it. And I'm like, I don't want to see those. I am on Letterboxd a lot, and I'm afraid to see what people say. And it's just like one of those things.
It's not like they're gonna put anything before the premiere, at least.
Right. But in 12 days or whatever it is, what, 9 days?
Yeah,
it's
9 days. I'll look at Letterboxd for you, and then I'll tell you if it's okay to look.
Well, I mean, I think there's one review up there.
How?
My friend Michael has seen the rough cut, and he took it upon himself to go and leave it up there. And I'm like, God dang it. It's just, the whole thing around it. I'm sure the movie's going to be over. Everybody's going to love it. And they're all going to give me hugs or whatever and give me COVID. But that's another thing. Like, I went and picked up lunch today and I was absolutely terrified because I have never contracted COVID. And I'm like, watch, it's going to fucking happen this week. It's going to happen this weekend. I won't be able to go to the premiere. This thing I've been working on
I'm going to send you the best multivitamin to take. I live by it. There have been times I've been on vacations with people where everyone else gets COVID and I don't. I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
It's really good.
Well, I went to an ELO concert last month, and that place was full of fucking boomers, and we did not get COVID there. And I thought for sure I was going to get it there, but I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Johnny's come a long way.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about Ralph and Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
too.
I did
Sorry.
a conversation about that.
Well, still, Johnny, you've come a long way too.
I have.
Anyway, yeah, it's all a lot. It's all a lot to take in.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Try to think of it as an excitement pit.
I'm trying really hard. Yeah.
I would have a suggestion, but you're not going to do that.
So much as the pit in your stomach before you have that bad report card to give, but what about the pit in your stomach before that first date that you've been anticipating?
I haven't been on a date in 25 years.
You haven't had a report card in how many years?
Yeah, true. But yeah, I guess so.
I'm just trying to make it a positive thing. Anyway.
Yeah, November 13th. In 2 months. In 2 months, Steve and I will have been together for 25 years. That's nuts.
Wow.
Congratulations.
It's almost as old as I am. That's crazy. Wow.
You're our daughter.
I was. It's okay. My parents could be your parents.
Yeah.
I will say this. Kate, not 100% awful this season.
Johnny. I mean, she was great. We talked about this for last season too. Hold on. Before both of you mansplain over me. We talked about this for last season too. I'm joking. But like, she wasn't awful last season either. Like, she contributed. She still cared. Like, she's cared about other people since the beginning. Yes, there were some times in the beginning where she had ulterior motives, but she's definitely grown from that. Excuse me. She doesn't do that anymore. And she did that last season too.
My favorite thing is they come back to the airport after Kate has left Jack screaming at the sky that we have to go back. I love that we come back to that scene. She hits the brakes, pulls up again, and says, "We have to go back?" Like, she's like, "Fuck you, dude." Like, she clearly now is like whatever bullshit the story was doing, where it's like she felt like she was being manipulated by Jack and being manipulated by Sawyer and like all that bullshit. Like, she never felt.
I don't know if she ever felt like she was being manipulated by them. She had feelings for them.
Right, but it was like, fuck those guys. They're not right for her. I don't know. Whatever. but this was like the first time where she
Hmm.
was just like, "No, you're an idiot." You know,
Yeah.
she didn't feel like vulnerable.
I think with
that scene is so
raising
hilarious.
Aaron, she lost her fucks to give.
Yeah, it's the friend that changed and had a baby.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except for if your relationship is shit, having a baby is not going to fix it. FYI, people. A lot of people
Okay.
also do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. It's not good.
Yeah.
Go to therapy
Yeah,
instead.
every kid out there, just let
Johnny
you know.
is frozen.
Any divorce is your part. He's like,
Everybody froze for a second.
Oh,
no, it was just you.
it was just you, Johnny.
It must have just
could
been
ask-
me. Everybody's boxes were spinning.
Yeah, because
Let's ask the chat. Jeremy's here. Jeremy, who was frozen and who was not? He'll get to us.
Saeed fucking died.
Who?
Saeed.
Did he die?
No.
Oh wait, I watched an episode.
Did you start season 6?
I did start season 6.
Johnny!
So you know the reveal I was talking about earlier.
Maybe.
Yeah, Faraday. So fucking rad in the construction hat. Could talk about that
Yeah.
next time. Yeah.
I got confused.
You mean from the beginning of season 5?
Oh no, that's the end of season 6. That's the big reveal at the end of season 5.
Yeah.
Right? Faraday
Yeah,
with
it's in
he's walking through.
Yeah.
No, that's the
Follows
beginning.
Dr. Chang. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
in
that's
the
the
that's the
beginning.
first episode of season 5. We see it later again in the
Yeah.
season.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that part. That's one of my favorite reveals. Is you
Yeah.
see Faraday where Chang is. It's like, oh my god.
And he just straight up tells him that he's a time traveler, and Cheng's like, "What? No." And then Miles is like, "Yeah, he's fucking crazy."
I love Miles. He's great. But speaking of Faraday, so him and Charlotte unfortunately do pass away this season.
Yeah.
Faraday's
Thoughts on
brutal.
them? Yeah, by his own mother.
What's fucked up
Who knew
again?
the whole
knew?
time? Yeah, which is why she like set him on the path.
She
Or
sent
tried
him there
to.
to do that.
Yeah,
Because what the island demanded.
and what's happened has happened, as he
Yeah.
always says.
I don't
Yeah.
know, Johnny. This is pretty fun time travel stuff.
That's the
I think it's real good. Charlotte, I was never really into.
Yeah, I wish there was
She was
more to her.
fine.
Like, obviously, we
Yeah.
see that, yeah, she grew up on the island. Yeah, I've seen some theories. I won't
Yeah.
say anything.
yeah. The Faraday thing is a bootstrap paradox, or predestination paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Probably.
crazy.
We know what you're
Crazy
talking about.
tits.
Yeah. So Saeed doesn't. Not that's next season.
Johnny.
I watched the first.
Well, I mean, you finished. Yeah. You already
Well-
finished watching. You're good to go.
You haven't
But-
finished. Let's just say keep watching season 6. which
Well,
you
yeah,
did.
I only watched the first episode because it was literally right after we got off talking about season 5 that I was like, I need to watch.
I need to see
I'm like-
what happened. Why
I
was
wanted
it
to
right
see
at the
the-
end?
You know what I wanted to see? I wanted to see the first scene because I wanted to know. Because when we stopped talking last week, we were talking about what type of like time travel it was, and I predicted last week. I'm like, I don't think Juliet's dead, like because
She isn't?
I just don't think she is. I think she's because if the plan works, then like nobody goes to the island in the first place, so she's still alive. Like, or well, she'll still
Like,
be
she's
on the
like a-
island, but
She's like a teenager or something.
well, she's still on the island because her death was only brought about because 815 crashed. If this solution makes it so that the plane doesn't crash and Jack and Sawyer and Kate and so on don't end up on the island, then those events don't happen to lead to her being down in the hole, detonating the bomb, so she doesn't die. So I needed to watch to find out if it worked and how it worked. And I'm not going to talk about it.
You didn't want to
we're going to wait
to find out?
No, I did not want to wait a year to find out, and we're going to wait till next week to talk about it.
So you can
but I wanted to know
why people are mad about Lost, because you did have to wait so long
Several
to
months.
get the answers.
Oh,
and so it's like, what? Yeah. Can you imagine?
I wrote like at the end of every season, except for what was it, season 3? Maybe I was like,
season
fuck
3 was
off. If I had to wait.
No. Season 3,
3.
you needed to see.
Was
That
it
was
season?
Maybe
Yeah,
after
go
season
back.
4.
Or season 4?
Season 4.
Let me see.
Maybe
Let me look
season
at my-
2. Season
Let me
2,
look
they
at
were
my
at the end of the
notes.
pier.
And the sky
Oh
turned
no,
purple.
even then. Season 2 is when the hatch explodes, though, and you wanted to know.
Oh yeah, I said for season 2. I said that ending is weird. I'd be so pissed if I was watching this when it aired.
Yeah.
For season
Maybe
3,
season 4, though.
I said, season 3 was where they ended.
Yeah,
with,
we
we
have
have
to
to
go
go back.
Yeah,
Yeah, you definitely need to keep watching after that.
Season 4
The island disappeared?
was Jeremy Bentham. Like we see Locke in the thing.
Yeah.
I think it was season 3 where I was like, you know what? If I had to stop watching, like that was where I could wait. I could wait the 6 to 8 months to see the
After
next
we
season.
have to go back, you could have
Yeah,
waited.
because obviously we know what they're gonna do. Then they're gonna try to go back. It's not like
I guess.
it's not like season 1
Fine.
where.
But you don't want to. But didn't you want to know how they got off the island?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about them
I
apples?
think season 4.
It's still
I think
not as
season 4,
bad.
The island disappearing is like kind of like all right.
It's still not as bad as them ending on like the hatch being open and we just see a ladder with like down into darkness. Like, well, where the fuck does that go?
Down a hole.
Yeah.
Up your butt.
But yeah, this one I was like, I need to know if I'm right, if my theories are right or not. So I'm gonna watch.
The end credits are white with black writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
What does
needed
that
to watch
mean?
the first scene of the first episode of the next season, and I ended up watching the entire double episode and some of the next episode. But so
three episodes.
Naughty.
but I already made all my predictions and stuff last
I
week.
know, I
basically.
know.
Like
know.
I don't think Juliet is dead, depending on how the time travel
Sounds like Johnny enjoys Lost. And he can't get enough of it.
I mean, he started out by binging 4
I
seasons
did. Yeah.
Right.
by accident. When he was supposed to wait for us to actually have a timeline
but
of
still,
doing
how
these
long have you
episodes.
been doing this for? Like 4 months now, something like that. 3 months. Like Johnny, could you spread it across
Since
this amount of
June.
time?
I have. I've watched them
But you've
several
seen it.
times in a week.
Oof. I was so amped up on watching season 5 last time, and I did not do it at all.
Yeah. Well, we
Once
started
again,
June.
when you texted us yesterday, you only needed 8.5 hours in the 28 hours you had left. You could have done it.
Watch double speed. No.
No,
Wow, we
1.5
started.
speed.
We
It's actually
started
not
this.
that bad.
Our first Lost stream was June 21st, Friday, June 21st.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we've been doing this for nearly 3 months, but
3
we
months.
have.
Guess so.
I almost had to though. Probably not as hard as I went on the first couple of seasons of Lost, but since the first, what was it, 3 were all like 20 some episodes, it would have been an undertaking to do an entire 24 episode season.
Well, we also did two
We did.
episode breakdowns for each season, and then we did the
Yeah.
review. So
Yeah.
once again, I've done it every week, so
Well, I'm impatient. Instant gratification. So I had to know if I was right.
Were you? Did you? Were you
I'm
happy
not
with
going
what you
to
saw? I'm just
say.
curious. I guess.
I'm not.
Alright.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
no
you
spoilers.
off camera. I'll tell you
Yeah.
off when we're done streaming. I'll tell you what I thought.
Even though everyone who's watching is already seen.
Yeah, even though but
Most
somebody might
likely.
not be like Thanos. If
Yeah.
Thanos watches, which I might have to
true.
go
Oh,
out
yeah.
and scrub out that bit about the season 6 spoiler.
No, it's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, so yeah, Kate's not 100% horrible this season. Jack, I don't feel like
Charlotte
there's
didn't do
much to
much.
talk about.
Faraday
He's basically the same. Charlotte
sucked.
Faraday.
Jack changes a little
Miles.
bit, like I said.
Who else?
He's a little softer. He's a little
bit.
less aggro. Bye.
You're looking at all the characters. Ben is still a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, he has. Listen though, Ben has some hilarious fucking comebacks this season. Can I ask you a question?
does.
I'm a Pisces. I fucking love it. How can you read? My mother taught me. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny this season.
Oh, best line of the season. Frank Lapidus on the plane.
We're not
Jack
going
knocks
to
on the
Guam,
door
are we?
and he looks over Jack's shoulder, and Hurley and Saeed, they're all sitting
Oh
there,
yeah, he's like,
and he
we're not
says,
going to
"We're not
Guam,
going
are
to
we?
Guam, are we?" Yeah.
Yep,
Such a good line.
so good. There was another line that I had that like I think Sawyer said that was good too. Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
I was
Frank
going to say,
Lapidus is the best.
we already talked about Miles, basically.
Yeah, there wasn't like there was some like I mean, we find out that Mr.
Yeah,
Wax Candle, all the candle wax related names, Chang,
Is
Dr.
his
Chang, is
Dad.
his daddy.
And he
an eye.
finds out that his dad wasn't a deadbeat and just didn't care about him. He finds out that he was trying to get to save him and his mother. Oh,
I love the vamp pool where Hurley's in there with
Oh,
Miles and
Dead man.
and
Oh,
Dr. Chang.
and the
Yeah.
awkward like, oh, your son's name's Miles? That's your name, dude. Like,
yeah.
what a coincidence.
What a
I'm like, Hurley, what the
coincidence.
fuck are you doing?
He's trying. Listen,
That was good.
everybody has daddy issues on this show. This is the one
Yep.
time that an actual father and son are like together on screen in the current timeline, where they can actually have some sort of semblance of like a decent conversation. And Hurley took the opportunity to do that. You know?
But that's not even what initiated it. It's when they were in the woods and they were talking to Chang. Like, not the woods, but like just outside of the where the swan would be.
Yeah.
And that's when they connected. Johnny missed it.
I know. I saw it in my peripheral vision as I was looking at the graphic. Real quick, there's not a lot about to say to them. I think this is their happy ending. We'll see if they show up next season. Rose and Bernard, love it. It's just so great. And they were so like, oh shit, when they saw them
Yeah.
Yeah.
all. This is fucking
Like,
great.
damn it.
And Bros is like, we're
Thought we
retired.
lost them.
We're not getting mixed up in all your crazy shit. You
Yeah.
30 years in the past. You traveled 30 years in the past. You're still trying to shoot each other. What the fuck? Yeah, I love it.
Yep. It's the voice of reason. Those two. Also able to exist on the island without all the extra BS.
The only other one in the Desmond. I don't feel like there's a lot of change with Desmond this season. He does say he's out, and he appears to be. He does not go back to the island. Ben did have a kind of a moment of like morality when he saw Desmond and Penny's son and decided that he wasn't going to kill Penny. Like, because he lowers the gun right before Desmond tackles
I don't
him
know if he
into the ocean.
decides. I think he hesitates more than anything. But the fact that he hesitated, for sure.
Yeah.
Still a piece of shit.
Alpert? Richard? Like, I don't know. He's in the season a lot more, but
Guyliner. Yep.
I did enjoy.
We still don't learn too much.
Yeah, I did enjoy.
He's a
How old
mystery.
is he? And Juliet's just like old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations
I mean-
to Mr. Carbonell, who won an Emmy this week
Oh yeah.
He won
I
his
saw
first Emmy,
that.
yeah. For Shogun.
What-
That's
He's in the
so
show.
cool.
He's
Oh
in
yeah.
Shogun.
Have either of you watched that?
I haven't. No.
I've heard it's good though.
Yeah, I've heard.
Clearly
it's
it's
good. Too, but I
good.
haven't watched
It
it
won
yet.
a bunch of Emmys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Super
think that's
nice
pretty
dude.
much. I mean, Sun and Jin. It's cool to see Sun like be a badass. It's also cool to see how far Jin has come in terms of, speaking English. Yeah. Agreed. He is hot. It's those eyelashes, man.
And
They
I'll
get
let
you.
you know he's super nice. Him and his wife Shannon, when we went to his house, the first thing they did was offer us like hot tea. Like, are you guys want any hot tea or anything? It was like in the wintertime.
Not
And they like
tea.
made some hot tea, and I was like, I just like some water, and they got us water and stuff, and they were just sweet. And Shannon gave us all like
Ew.
signed copies of her book, and it's just like, oh man, these just are the nicest people, just the absolute
that.
nicest people. Yeah.
Love to hear that.
Yeah. And their
Um,
dog Donna was not happy with me being around until she came up and sat next to me during their interview, and so I was like, okay, all right, Donna, we can be friends.
Yeah.
Started growling at me
Dogs
when
just
because
take.
Donna jumped up on his lap, and so when I put the clapperboard in front of their faces, Donna started growling, and I'm like, all right.
Oh, I'm sure.
But then when I
Some
sat
dogs
down
are
and
very
we were doing the
protective like
interview,
that.
yeah, when I was doing the interview, Donna came up and like leaned up against me and watched them do their interview and stuff. So
Oh, that's so cute. She's like, "Oh, I guess you're okay now. You're not trying to hurt my parents."
all the dogs are also sweethearts that showed up.
Oh, I have a question, and maybe you cover this in
Yes.
the documentary. That awful CG submarine. What the
Oh,
fuck?
and the CG plane landing on the island.
It's
Was it-
2008. It's also a television budget.
Have
but
you
also, like,
rewatched Lord of the Rings from 8 years before that? It's still great.
But my
It's not a
question is,
TV
was it really like
But this had a higher budget than Lord of the Rings did.
maybe Weta should have done Lost? I think that would have
per
been,
episode or like for the season? Because that is like
Like
14, 15 hours versus.
4.
well, I mean, there's 6 seasons, so
Oh, you're talking about.
how many? Okay, Lord of the Rings. There's what?
12 hours.
12, 13 hours.
I got a quieter keyboard. I don't know if anybody knows. So Lost
No,
was
it's
4
still
million
loud.
per episode. It says.
Yeah. And
So-
also, like, they didn't need to use all of that per episode. Like, if they knew they would have to use a lot of CGI, they could have.
That is
mixed it up.
true.
They shot every
Yeah.
episode in something like 8 days.
Yeah.
That's
It was like a fast
freaking
turnaround.
insane.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The budget for Fellowship of the Ring was $93 million.
I think I was all at once, though, wasn't it?
probably just split
Because
it.
they
Wikipedia.
filmed it all. They filmed it all together. They
Yeah.
filmed all 3 together.
Let me see. Stand by. So there's that one.
But still, TV at the time. When did Air Force One come out? Have you seen that plane crash? Have you guys seen the plane crash to Air Force One?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's nuts. Anyone after this stream, go on YouTube and just type in Air Force One plane crash. I guess spoilers, the plane crashes at the end of Air Force One. I haven't seen it, but it is gnarly. It is the worst CG I've ever seen.
Oh.
Even worse than Lost, but I think it came out before Lost.
So it says that Fellowship was 93 and Two Towers and Return of the King were both 94 million. So it looks like they had a big budget that was divided equally among the 3 films.
Yeah.
Regardless, I mean, and my question is,
Where did
was
they
it-
get the money from?
was it, well, I mean, when you
New Line
it's a
Cinema.
gamble when the box office is 1.15 billion on a $94 million movie. I think they're good. My question is like the CG sub was that easier and less expensive than just getting an actual submarine and doing that shot? Like I feel like it would have looked so much better and made more sense if it was a practical effect than doing the sub, because you've not only got to do the sub, you have to do the ripples in the water, which were also not great. I don't know. It's just it was a question that I had and I wondered.
Also, they could have landed a plane on a random island that had a janky runway.
Or used models
saying.
like Star Trek or Godzilla. Anyway, that was
Or Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is
Yeah.
literally known for their life-size models. Just saying. Practical effects, baby. Anyways, anything else we want to talk about for season 5? I feel like we covered pretty much everything.
Cool.
Yeah,
Can we just all watch that Air Force One plane crash together?
No. Sorry.
Ah, boo. I'm gonna set it up. And hit present, and one of you guys will hit accept.
Okay.
it's
Highly
only
recommend.
You do that.
It's only 19 seconds.
Yeah, it's real short. I don't think you'll get flagged. We'll talk about it during it.
Right.
It's what year did Air Force One come out?
1997 it says.
Oh, okay, so yeah, it's gonna be bad,
Really?
but not that bad. It's real bad.
Hang on, I forgot to share audio.
You don't need the audio.
Oh, even better.
It's only
less
19
likely to
seconds.
get flagged.
I mean, if you're
And
playing
go.
it from,
Oh boy. Oh.
apparently this is a real
boy.
movie with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
president.
I've
in
seen
this,
it.
isn't he?
Oh boy. It wouldn't just skid like that either.
There's some
Maybe
practical.
to an extent, but
There's some practical effects going on there because that splash, some of the spray was way too
Are you
realistic
okay?
for 1997 CGI.
I think that looked pretty fake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the same year as Independence
Especially because
Day.
it was coming out at the same level.
Not the white. Never mind. Forget it.
It's still like dumb.
You're not going to win this, Johnny.
No.
No.
No, I don't think I have anything else to.
Ralph, do you have anything else?
No.
Aside from, I don't know if it means anything, but it was interesting the characters that we saw Jacob meet when they were kids versus the characters who he met when they were already adults, and the characters that he like Kate.
Like when he
said,
decided, Jacob decided to see them.
yeah, don't steal it. You promise me you're not going to steal anymore or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, but he also was there during, I think, yeah, like, they were all pretty prominent moments in their lives,
Yeah,
for the most part.
because
For the most part.
Like when Sawyer was going to write the letter.
yeah,
Yep. He
Um,
literally used his pen to write
Yeah.
the letter. So crazy.
Saeed is when he's an adult. It's
Nadia
when
dies.
Nadia dies, which Jacob kind of saved Saeed's life there, but also kind of may have caused Nadia's death, because if Saeed had been walking with her, he might have like stopped. Like, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Hurley as an adult too.
But he straight up just talks to her. Like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Absolutely. And gives him the guitar case, but
yes.
not his guitar, which I never questioned why Hurley had a guitar case at all until much
talk about
later. Yeah, and I'm like, is it Charlie's guitar? But no, we'll see.
They're trying to mimic the circumstances as much as possible.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. They had to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The
Anyway,
coffin,
yeah, that's everything.
Jack's dead shoes.
Yeah, the shoes.
Yeah.
A coffin.
Yeah,
with
I
a
think.
body in it.
Mm-hmm. So that the man in black could use the body and kill Jacob finally. So.
But okay. But he didn't use the body though, because we saw the body on the beach while he was in there.
Not
Did
physically
he need to, like,
use the body.
imprint it on it? Like he needed to, like. How does his shape shifting work? If he was Christian, like you were talking about before,
I think.
does he need to touch?
You'll find out
and,
more.
Like, okay.
Well, let me just say this. I'll say this. When Echo met up
Careful,
with
Ralph.
Okay.
No. When...
Really?
No. Ralph. Down. Bad boy. Bad boy. Nope. I'm going to mute you.
He probably.
He says I probably already saw it. I'm going to unmute him.
Yeah, you said you were only 3 episodes in. I think you're farther in season 6.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I'm in 2 episodes. I watched the 2-hour pilot, not pilot, premiere, and then the second episode, and then I stopped. I think.
Don't say anything, Ralph. Don't say nothing.
So
you only gotta wait a week at this point.
Nothing.
Okay,
All right.
I'm almost finished with my Gatorade. I'll drink it.
What, Ralph? What do you have going on your podcasts coming up? Nothing. Anything?
No, we're taking a little bit of a break with Star Wars. I feel like it's just healthy.
Probably.
Really want to talk about Star Wars at the moment. To keep myself a little bit sane, I created a show called Lanterns Live, which is
you
me
sure
being
that's
able
to
talk
keep
about...
you sane?
Well, it was because Stevie was doing ukulele lessons on Wednesdays. Dude, like fucking, so she's doing this ukulele lessons, right? She's been doing it for a while, and I just kind of sit here and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a Green Lantern show while she's gone, once a week, half-hour long, no big deal. And then, like, one day, her ukulele instructor's like, oh, we seem cool. Like, our relationship is pretty cool. Maybe we can take it to the next level. Do you believe in Jesus?
Oh my god.
It's like, fuck. And I told Stevie, I said, just stop. I was like, you gotta, like, dude, like, no.
Absolutely not.
And I was like, you can't do that. And so now I just kind of do
That's
it.
too bad.
On Wednesdays when she's still working, like the last hour of her workday or something. Sometimes I'll do it at like 6 and stuff, but it's just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been enjoying it. Johnny's been on a couple times. Kayla, I need to get you on at some point. If there's anything,
what am I going to talk about? I know nothing about Green Lantern.
Yeah, so that's what's fun is we can watch something. Like if you watch Justice League New Frontier, it's a great story about the Justice League during like the Kennedy administration. And there's a great storyline with Hal Jordan, who's played by David Boreanaz, and it's really good. And it would be a great introduction to the character. I want to say like Neil Patrick Harris is the Flash, Brooke Shields is Wonder Woman. It's a really cool animated movie. But I mean, yeah, we'll think of something. I mean, you
could read there's a Star Trek Green Lantern crossover comic that
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because I forgot.
We
the other day
both
was
need
Star
to be
Trek
on
Day.
for that though.
Yeah, it was Star Trek Day the other day, and I was like,
Yes,
oh, I wonder if I could do a Green Lantern post. And I'm like, oh, of course. And it occurred to me that it's Green Lantern and the Kelvin timeline crew of the Enterprise,
which is perfect because she's seen those.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
the
And
Kelvin
so
stories.
I told Johnny, I said, Johnny, I just remember, have you heard of did you know this existed? And he's like, I do now. And it's like, did you do the exploding brain emoji or something? I don't know what you put, but it was like one of those things where it's like,
Mind blown.
like a minute later, Johnny's like, did you know there's a second book?
There
It's
goes your
called,
light.
it's about, is it Strange New Worlds? Or it's called
Stranger
World.
Worlds.
Yeah. But I don't think, I think
Very
it's still
close
the
to Strange
Kelvin.
New World.
Yeah, it's
You need
a
to watch
direct
Strange New
follow-up to
Worlds,
the Spectre
Ralph.
War.
I
If
watched
we
the
do
first
that,
one.
you have to watch Strange New Worlds.
I watched the first one, and Pike was like, I'm having visions where I'm in the wheelchair from the old show. And I'm like, I get that reference.
Yeah.
You watched that. You watched the
Exactly.
Cage. Or you watched the...
Yeah, we watched
Yep.
Menagerie.
That's
Yeah.
in-
I'm not
yeah.
spoiling.
We're
Yeah.
We've only got
in season 3.
maybe what?
I'm going to say 8. You're going to have 8 episodes left.
It's more than that. We're
It's
on.
more than that.
We haven't
We're a little
released them
behind.
yet. We've recorded 60, so we only have 19 more episodes to watch.
Oh, that's pretty
We're
good.
and then the 6 movies, but the movies will go through quick.
Yeah.
Kayla, are you enjoying the show still?
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching during lockdown. I remember watching, finally getting through the whole series for the first time. I had a lot of start and stops, and I remember like really getting into it. Like as the longer it went, like getting more interesting storylines and stuff, and like really enjoying this sort of Spock, Bones, Kirk relationship.
Yeah. They're pretty funny.
V'ger,
Their jobs
oh
at each
boy.
other.
They talk about V'ger. I have a question about V'ger, and I think somebody explained it to me.
I don't know.
Have you seen Star Trek: The Motion Picture?
No. That's
No.
the whole point of us doing that.
Yeah, I have a huge question
Allison.
about V'ger. I have a huge question about
Watching you.
V'ger, and Johnny, I'm just going to say this. Are there mirrors in space?
What?
Because the placement of
Um,
V'ger's name and V'ger knowing the name. You know.
There's a lot of theories around
Okay.
V'ger.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories around V'ger.
No spoilers. Okay, let's geek the
By
F
the
out
way-
of here.
All right.
Ralph, where can
Hot
people
take.
find you?
Hot take, real quick. Hot take. It's gonna make everyone real mad because every Trek fan I know
God.
gets real mad when I say that I like Star Trek, the motion picture, more than the Wrath of Khan.
Ooh, that is a hot take.
It's a hot take, and I know it. I know it's a hot take.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
sorry, but
Star Trek the
I knew it
Motion
was-
Picture. Here's the thing. Star Trek the Motion Picture is a motion picture. The Wrath of Khan is a movie. There is a difference. Like Star Trek the Motion Picture is art. Star Trek the Wrath of Khan is a movie. Like there's completely different philosophies behind the writing and directing of those two films.
this is why.
Interesting.
This is why I started Lanterns Live, Kayla. It's because it's not talking about Lost. My whole life is revolved around Lost, and it's so fun talking about other things. Get me on. Get me on if you when you cover the motion picture. Please have me on.
Okay.
Okay, it'll be you and Allison apparently.
Yep.
Yeah.
We might have to do a 2 because it's a long film too.
It just
We
seems
might-
Johnny,
We
you're
are
saying
gonna-
that to someone who watches Lord of the Rings all the
That's true.
time.
We're
It's not
gonna
longer
do-
than the first Fellowship Extended, right?
I think we're. It depends on what we watch.
traveling to V'ger. I eat up every single second of it. You're not
It
gonna.
is 132 minutes.
Oh.
It's 2 hours and 12
just over
minutes.
2 hours. Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's half of the Fellowship, literally. That's like child's play. All right. Let's geek the F out of here.
Yes, I think we're gonna move to
You guys know where to
streams
find me.
for the movies. Yeah, he's CasinoSkunk at Live Action
Yeah.
Star Wars at Lanterns Live. Monday on Diced Thespians on Twitch, episode 3 of the Sundered Veil season 2. This Thursday, hopefully, we will be back with Trek Recheck. We've had some scheduling conflicts that have been coming up last minute, so we've been on a bit of
Me.
a hiatus. But
I've been the conflict. I'm the problem. It's me.
there are things that have been like,
Out of my control too.
yeah,
Like the
it's
internet going
legitimate.
down.
Like, oh shit, this happened, and I'm like, she texts me and she's
Or
like,
dogs.
yeah, can we just skip? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
She's like, thanks. I'm like, I'm never gonna be like, no, that's unacceptable.
Thanks, Johnny.
You're welcome. This is for fun. This is
Yeah.
Hmm.
It should be fun.
all right, folks.
Follow us at GTFO channel. Make sure to smack the like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon. Tune in the next 2 Fridays as we talk about season 6. And the premiere is the 22nd, and we'll probably do an episode covering that after. See you in another life, brother. Do they only do it when I do 2? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Unts,
My laser beams. All right, there you go.
There you go.